voice. Move by the light, make a choice. Listen to my voice. I got something to say.
This is your Resolve to Read daily reading. It's February 19th, and we're reading from Exodus, Leviticus, and Deuteronomy. When you enter the land Yahuwah your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. Let no one be found among you who sacrifices his son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft, or casts spells, or who is a medium or a spiritist, or consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to Yahuwah, and because of these detestable practices, Yahuwah your God will drive out those nations before you. You must be blameless before Yahuwah your God. The nations you will dispossess listen to those who practice sorcery or divination. But as for you, Yahuwah your God has not permitted you to do so. Do not allow a sorceress to live. A man or woman who is a medium or a spiritist among you must be put to death. You are to stone them. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a prophet or one who foretells by dreams appears among you and announces to you a miraculous sign or wonder, and if the sign or wonder of which he has spoken takes place, and he says, "Let us follow other gods, gods you have not known, and let us worship them," you must not listen to the words of that prophet or dreamer. Yahuwah your God is testing you to find out whether you love him with all your heart and with all your soul. It is Yahuwah your God you must follow, and him you must revere. Keep his commands and obey him, serve him, and hold fast to him. That prophet or dreamer must be put to death because he preached rebellion against Yahuwah your God, who brought you out of Egypt and redeemed you from the land of slavery. He has tried to turn you from the way Yahuwah your God has commanded you to follow. You must purge the evil from among you. Yahuwah your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among your own brethren. You must listen to him, for this is what you asked of Yahuwah your God in Horeb on the day of the assembly when you said, "Let us not hear the voice of Yahuwah our God, nor see this great fire any more, or we will die." Yahuwah said to me, "What they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their brethren. I will put my words in his mouth, and he will tell them everything I command him. If anyone does not listen to my words that the prophet speaks in my name, I myself will call him to account. But a prophet who presumes to speak in my name anything that I have not commanded him to say, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, must be put to death. You may say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by Yahuwah? If what a prophet proclaims in the name of Yahuwah does not take place or come true, that is a message Yahuwah has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously. Do not be afraid of him. You shall not misuse the name of Yahuwah your God, for Yahuwah will not hold anyone guiltless who misuses his name. Do not blaspheme God. Now, the son of an Israelite mother and an Egyptian father went out among the Israelites, and a fight broke out in the camp between him and an Israelite. The son of the Israelite woman blasphemed the name with a curse. So they brought him to Moses. His mother's name was Shelomith, the daughter of Dibri, the Danite. They put him in custody until the will of Yahuwah should be made clear to them. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, "Take the blasphemer outside the camp. All those who heard him are to lay their hands on his head, and the entire assembly is to stone him. Say to the Israelites, if anyone curses his God, he will be held responsible. Anyone who blasphemes the name of Yahuwah must be put to death. The entire assembly must stone him, whether an alien or native born. When he blasphemes the name, he must be put to death." Then Moses spoke to the Israelites, and they took the blasphemer outside the camp and stoned him. The Israelites did as Yahuwah commanded Moses. You must give me the firstborn of your sons. Do the same with your cattle and your sheep. Let them stay with their mothers for 7 days, but give them to me on the 8th day. The first offspring of every womb belongs to me, including all the firstborn males of your livestock, whether from herd or flock. Redeem the firstborn donkey with a lamb, but if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem all your firstborn sons. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. Do not hold back offerings from your granaries or your vats. Bring the best of the firstfruits of your soil to the house of Yahuwah your God. Set apart for Yahuwah your God every firstborn male of your herds and flocks. Do not put the firstborn of your oxen to work, and do not shear the firstborn of your sheep. Each year, you and your family are to eat them in the presence of Yahuwah your God at the place he will choose. If an animal has a defect, is lame or blind, or has any serious flaw, you must not sacrifice it to Yahuwah your God. You are to eat it in your own towns. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat it, as if it were a gazelle or deer. But you must not eat the blood. Pour it out on the ground like water. The priests who are Levites, indeed the whole tribe of Levi, are to have no allotment or inheritance with Israel. They shall live on the offerings made to Yahuwah by fire, for that is their inheritance. They shall have no inheritance among their brothers. Yahuwah is their inheritance, as he promised them. This is the share due the priest from the people who sacrifice a bull or a sheep, the shoulder, the jowls, and the inner parts. You are to give the firstfruits of your grain, new wine, and oil, and the first wool from the shearing of your sheep. For Yahuwah your God has chosen them and their descendants out of all your tribes to stand and minister in Yahuwah's name always. If a Levite moves from one of your towns anywhere in Israel where he is living and comes in all earnestness to the place Yahuwah will choose, he may minister in the name of Yahuwah his God, like all his fellow Levites who serve there in the presence of Yahuwah. He is to share equally in their benefits, even though he has received money from the sale of family possessions. Be sure to set aside 1/10 of all that your fields produce each year. Eat the tithe of your grain, new wine, and oil, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks, in the presence of Yahuwah your God, at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name, so that you may learn to revere Yahuwah your God always. But if that place is too distant, and you have been blessed by Yahuwah your God, and cannot carry your tithe, because the place where Yahuwah will choose to put his name is so far away, then exchange your tithe for silver, and take the silver with you, and go to the place Yahuwah your God will choose. Use the silver to buy whatever you like, cattle, sheep, wine, or other fermented drink, or anything you wish. Then you and your household shall eat there in the presence of Yahuwah your God and rejoice. And do not neglect the Levites living in your towns, for they have no allotment or inheritance of their own. At the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns, so that the Levites, who have no allotment or inheritance of their own, and the aliens, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns may come and eat and be satisfied, and so that Yahuwah your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When you have entered the land Yahuwah your God is giving you as an inheritance, and have taken possession of it, and settled in it, take some of the firstfruits of all that you produce from the soil of the land Yahuwah your God is giving you, and put them in a basket. Then go to the place Yahuwah your God will choose as a dwelling for his name, and say to the priest in office at the time, I declare today to Yahuwah your God that I have come to the land Yahuwah swore to our forefathers to give us. The priest shall take the basket from your hands and set it down in front of the altar of Yahuwah your God. Then you shall declare before Yahuwah your God, my father was a wandering Aramean, and he went down into Egypt with a few people and lived there and became a great nation, powerful and numerous. But the Egyptians mistreated us and made us suffer, putting us to hard labor. Then we cried out to Yahuwah, the God of our fathers, and Yahuwah heard our voice and saw our misery, toil, and oppression. So Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm, with great terror and with miraculous signs and wonders. He brought us to this place and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now I bring the first fruits of the soil that you, O Yahuwah, have given me. Place the basket before Yahuwah your God and bow down before him. And you and the Levites and the aliens among you shall rejoice in all the good things Yahuwah your God has given to you and your household. When you have finished setting aside a tenth of all your produce in the 3rd year, the year of the tithe, you shall give it to the Levite, the alien, the fatherless, and the widow, so that they may eat in your towns and be satisfied. Then say to Yahuwah your God, I have removed from my house the sacred portion, and have given it to the Levite, the alien, the fatherless, and the widow, according to all you commanded. I have not turned aside from your commands, nor have I forgotten any of them. I have not eaten any of the sacred portion while I was in mourning, nor have I removed any of it while I was unclean, nor have I offered any of it to the dead. I have obeyed Yahuwah my God. I have done everything you commanded me. Look down from heaven, your holy dwelling place, and bless your people Israel and the land you have given us as you promised on oath to our forefathers, a land flowing with milk and honey. When you enter the land and plant any kind of fruit tree, regard its fruit as forbidden. For 3 years you are to consider it forbidden. It must not be eaten. In the 4th year, all its fruit will be holy, an offering of praise to Yahuwah. But in the 5th year, you may eat its fruit. In this way, your harvest will be increased. I am Yahuwah your God. Observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy, as Yahuwah your God has commanded you. 6 days you are to labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to Yahuwah your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant or maidservant, nor your ox, your donkey, or any of your animals, nor the alien within your gates, so that your manservant and maidservant may rest, as you do. Remember that you were slaves in Egypt, and that Yahuwah your God brought you out of there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, Yahuwah your God has commanded you to observe the Sabbath day. The Israelites are to observe the Sabbath, celebrating it for the generations to come as a lasting covenant. It will be a sign between me and the Israelites forever. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heavens and the earth, and on the 7th day he abstained from work and rested. Observe my Sabbaths and have reverence for my sanctuary. I am Yahuwah. Yahuwah said to Moses, Speak to the Israelites and say to them, These are my appointed feasts, the appointed feasts of Yahuwah, which you are to proclaim as sacred assemblies. There are 6 days when you may work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath of rest, a day of sacred assembly. You are not to do any work wherever you live. It is a Sabbath to Yahuwah. Do not light a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day. 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and harvest, you must rest. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, Say to the Israelites, You must observe my Sabbaths. This will be a sign between me and you for the generations to come, so you may know that I am Yahuwah, who makes you holy. Observe the Sabbath, because it is holy to you. Anyone who desecrates it must be put to death. Whoever does any work on that day must be cut off from his people. For 6 days work is to be done, but the 7th day is a Sabbath rest, holy to Yahuwah. Whoever does any work on the Sabbath day must be put to death. While the Israelites were in the desert, a man was found gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly, and they kept him in custody, because it was not clear what should be done to him. Then Yahuwah said to Moses, The man must die. The whole assembly must stone him outside the camp. So the assembly took him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as Yahuwah commanded Moses. This is the word of Yahuwah. Thanks be to God.